They cannot hear you now. Once again, you prove too weak and powerless to do anything.
Welcome boys and girls, Christine here with the secret rework coming alongside the Tides of Torment DLC for Total War Warhammer 3. Lokhir Fellheart, the Master of the Seas, who might still very well be the Master of the Seas once the DLC is out. And what they have done for him? Probably just someone from marketing telling a developer to do something cool for Lokhir, and that developer just doing something cool. So, what do we have for Lokhir himself? Because there's the obvious package, and then there's the things that you might not notice at a first glance when you're looking at him. So first off, he does have the ability of traveling to a black arc. So you spend all of his movement range to travel to a black arc. The next turn, he will appear next to the target. This gives him a significant level of mobility in the campaign, and it means that when you're playing a campaign over here in Cafe, and you're going, say, for instance, for Kumlan, all that, you can then travel to a black arc that's just been sailing the seas looking for a new target. That is an amazing level of capability for Lokhir, because his objective is to go for Shillong. You might want to engage into diplomacy, you might even want to go for the Bastion, but then getting back from there, they're kind of a bit of an annoying factor. Then, we have the ability for him to launch sea-based attacks on port settlements, something that Albrecht has, Wulfric has, Aislinn has as well, based on what CA has shown of him. Obviously, they designed that for Aislinn, they've shown it publicly. Just can't go into the details, right, of him for now. Then, on top of that, those are the obvious, clear things that I'm sure plenty of people have already talked about, what Grave Assembly themselves have stated. But then there's the more hidden things about Lokhir's campaign that one may not notice. Research rate, obviously, for Dark Elves is the same. But Dark Elves are a great race, that's not a problem. Wide variety, hero capacity, etc. From both Black Arcs and regular settlements. That's something the Vampire Coast, for instance, could very well use. But then he has a couple of unique elements just associated to him alone. I mean, rights have stayed the same. Maybe they should be rebalanced, just to pass on Dark Elves research tree units, etc. But then we have new dictats only available for Lokhir, or at least I think they're only available for Lokhir. So we get Wear Out the Oars, which gives you campaign movement range while at sea for armies in the nearby sea region. We get Shipbuilding, pretty important because it gives your black arcs growth points. So you do get less growth in regular settlements, though keeping in mind Dark Elves have instant construction inherently, and they still get 20 growth. They have an inbuilt growth benefit. It's fairly significant, and it's more important, I would say, to get the Black Arc growth benefit than it is to get the regular growth benefit. So you sacrifice, that's the sacrifice you make when playing as Lokhir, and it's very well worth it. Then you get naval markets, which generate 1,000 treasury, but also generate 500 for each Black Arc you own. And yes, this is powerful. You can generate a lot of money very quickly, dependent on the number of Black Arcs. And here's the thing about Black Arcs. They do not cost supply lines. Okay, but what's the next aspect when we're going to Lokhir? That's, again, still fairly surface level. Well, here's the thing. Aislinn starts in the Tower of the Sun when you're looking to fight him. The way you get to him when you're playing as Lokhir is you do have that sea lane that brings you right next to him. And then you have these free right here. If you move over him, these are available for the High Elf Sea Patrol. Or, as you see there, the Blessed Dread. Oh yes, you can use this as Lokhir. That's one of the core mechanics that CA has shown about him, and you do get various one very significant benefit from it. You capture this province, and then you will gain access to the High Elf Sea Patrol unique sea lanes located in the Eastern Isles. So you can now use these sea lanes to travel with your armies to the same locations Aislinn would. Again, not going to the details of Aislinn. Of course, Lokhir does have a bit of a problem in that he doesn't actually have a black arc associated to his army. Aislinn does, all that. But he still is really good at naval warfare, because every major settlement he owns with a port gives him a black arc. So he's so far ahead of the curve of every other naval faction that it's not even funny from my perspective. How far ahead? Well, let's say we go to Ulfwan, and then...
You think you have won? You are blind! I will force your eyes open! Behold! My glorious destiny!
Why, yes, Lokhir has the most amount of dedicated naval horde armies in the entire game. Now, obviously, I did get all the Black Arcs here just for reasons, but you don't need to do so. You can use each of them to attack from the sea, because they only attack from the sea in order to take a settlement. There are some pros and cons with regards to how Black Arcs work now. So the con is that you no longer start with the Corsair cabins, which give you Black Arc Corsairs and handbows. That's the downside. So you're missing that in build barracks, which you should have from my perspective. But of course, the upside is for Lokhir is you kind of don't care as much, because you've just gotten significantly more growth for Black Arc. So you will reach higher levels. I mean, this is a turn 27 campaign, and yes, they haven't necessarily gotten to the absolute highest level, but I can certainly push them more. I'm just waiting for it. Like this one, or actually, where is the one that Lokhir has? Yeah, there we go. So this one is already tier 4. This is the starting one you have, the one with the Tower of the Blessed Dread. Tier 4 already, turn 27. Horde armies could certainly use an update in the way they handle surplus points, because they actually end up being more annoying than regular settlements to deal with. Because with a regular settlement, you just upgrade the main settlement building. With Horde armies, you're getting buildings at a cost of surplus points that you're also using the same surplus points from the main building. That is an annoying dynamic, because it just means save up to tier 5, get only the minimal you need to optimize that, and then get the buildings that give you variety. So that's the downside. Doesn't quite matter for Dark Elves, because you do have most of your army variety is early on. But yes, you have control of the seas. You're not affected by the supply lines on these. You do get that upkeep benefit with them, so you have and you literally print money. Like, you have variety of units on land. You have variety and variety of units on sea. You have every hero that can be recruited on sea, increased capacity from settlements, even from minor settlements, with the exception of sorceresses, who only increase their capacity in major ones as opposed to minor ones. And you end up just having a lot of fun with this. You have so many benefits in terms of movement range, campaign dynamics, choices. It is, of course, just something maybe one person did in their free time, basically. But it works. And it works because it just showcases how a couple of changes to a legendary lord, or literally stealing the mechanic from a DLC one, and adding them onto an existing one, can make a campaign that was already pretty good, because Lokhir was, into a phenomenal one. I mean, I think Lokhir was easily an S tier campaign before. Now he's just like really, really fun. I wouldn't do tier rankings for campaigns right now. Malachi's probably, still the GOAT unless something shows up different when I can talk about Aislinn and the rest. But still, it is a good campaign. It shows how making a good campaign is not about number of mechanics or starting position or anything like that. It's just having something simple, but something simple that works within the context of the game dynamics. And that's what they've done for Lokhir. Costin signing out.